Title: Love on the Road. It was a dreary Tuesday morning when Lily's life took an unexpected turn. The rain was pouring down, the sky gray and oppressive, as she stood at the bus stop, clutching her umbrella tightly. She had missed her bus, again, and had no choice but to walk the 2 miles to her office, late as usual. Her shoes squelched in the puddles, and she sighed in frustration. It was one of those days when everything seemed to go wrong. But as she rounded the corner of a familiar street, a sleek black car pulled up beside her. The window rolled down, revealing a man with striking green eyes and a charming smile. "Need a ride?" he asked, his voice warm and inviting. Lily hesitated for a moment. She wasn't in the habit of accepting rides from strangers, but something about him seemed different. His presence was calm, reassuring, and he had the kind of smile that made you feel like everything would be okay. "I'm sorry, but I'm not sure it's really no trouble," he said, cutting her off gently. "I'm headed in the same direction, and it's much better than walking in this rain." Reluctantly, she nodded. The rain was getting worse by the second, and she didn't want to spend the next hour getting drenched. As she climbed into the car, the warmth of the leather seat felt like a relief. The man extended his hand. "I'm Jake, by the way." "Lily," she said, shaking his hand, though she couldn't help but feel a little nervous. The car sped through the rain-soaked streets, and they made small talk about the weather, work, and the miserable state of the city's public transport system. Jake had a way of making her laugh, his easygoing nature a stark contrast to the stress she had been carrying all morning. As they continued to talk, Lily found herself loosening up. The conversation shifted from mundane topics to something deeper. She learned that Jake had been a cab driver for years, driving through the city's busy streets, listening to people's stories, and offering quiet moments of companionship to those who needed it most. He spoke about his love for the open road and how driving had become a way for him to escape the chaos of life. Lily found herself fascinated. He wasn't just another driver. He was someone who truly understood people, who saw beyond the superficial and listened with empathy. It felt like she had known him far longer than just the few minutes they had spent in the car together. "I never thought I'd meet someone like you today," she admitted, glancing at him with a smile. He gave a half laugh. "I can't say the same, but I'm glad our paths crossed. It's rare to meet someone who isn't in a rush or too focused on the small stuff." As the car neared her office, the rain had lightened to a drizzle. The streets were quieter now, almost serene. Lily had never felt so relaxed in a car before, let alone with someone she had just met. But with Jake, there was an unspoken connection, a bond that made her feel safe and understood. "This is me," she said as they pulled up to her office building. She hesitated, unsure whether to thank him and leave or to say something more. Jake smiled, his eyes softening. "Anytime, Lily. I'll be here if you need a ride. It's not every day I get to meet someone as interesting as you." Lily's heart fluttered, and she couldn't help but feel a bit of excitement at the thought of seeing him again. She smiled back, a little bashful but grateful. "Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it." She stepped out of the car and watched him drive away, the sound of the engine fading into the background. As she entered the building, her mind raced. The ride with Jake had felt too short, too perfect. She wondered if their paths would cross again. She hoped they would. Over the next few days, Lily couldn't shake the memory of Jake's warm smile and the comfort she felt in his presence. She found herself hoping for another chance encounter. And as fate would have it, it wasn't long before she saw the black car again, this time parked by a cafe she frequented during lunch. Without thinking, Lily approached the car and knocked on the window. Jake's face lit up when he saw her. "Lily," he exclaimed, rolling down the window, "what are you doing here?" She shrugged, smiling. "I was just thinking about you, actually. I don't suppose you'd like to grab a coffee?" Jake grinned and nodded. "I'd love to." As they sat across from each other in the cozy cafe, sipping coffee and talking for hours, Lily realized that the connection she felt with Jake was more than just a passing moment. They had become friends, and over time, their bond deepened. There was something magnetic about the way he made her feel. something that went beyond the casual ride of that rainy morning. The weeks passed, and their relationship blossomed. From coffee dates to weekend drives along the coast, Jake and Lily shared stories, laughter, and quiet moments. They discovered that they had more in common than they had initially.